If you've ever left an IEP meeting feeling confused, dismissed, emotional, questioning what the heck just happened, you're not alone. A lot of parents walk into these meetings hoping for collaboration and clarity, and instead they walk out feeling overwhelmed or pressure, unsure about what in the world just happened. And one of the hardest parts is this: you'll leave wondering if you overreacted, if you asked for too much, maybe you just didn't explain things well, you might be thinking to yourself. Yeah, we're going to talk about all of that today. So my name is Paige Fitzgerald, and I'm part of the team at Inclusive Educational Practices. We support parents as they navigate school concerns, advocacy conversations, and the often overwhelming process of trying to get appropriate support for their child in special education settings. In this video, we want to talk about what to do after an IEP meeting goes badly, how you can regroup, and what steps can help you move forward more effectively. Because often, what's actually happening is not that you're failing, it's that these systems are really tricky to navigate, right? Most of us don't have degrees in special education, and that's okay. But we still need to be informed and know what to do to advocate for our kids and get them the support that they're entitled to. Okay, so one of the most important things we tell parents is this: you do not have to solve everything immediately after the meeting. When a meeting feels tense or emotionally charged, you might feel pressure to send a long email right away, right? Trying to get that point across of what happened. Agreeing to something that you're unsure about, especially if they're pressuring you to, sorry, I'm checking on my puppy that's under my foot, especially if they're pressuring you to sign something at the meeting, which they can do, or to keep arguing your point immediately. After difficult meetings, your nervous system is overloaded. And when that happens, it becomes a lot harder to organize that information, to make thoughtful decisions clearly, even to communicate the way that you want to, right? Some of us, when we're stressed, our communication centers just shut down. So before taking your next step, give yourself space to decompress. That might mean reviewing your notes next day, right? Come back to it, put it aside, talking things through with someone you trust, an informed relative who maybe has some experience in special education, or an advocate, or simply just giving yourself permission to acknowledge that was really hard. Meeting kind of sucked. And it has nothing to do with you failing the way that you did something in a meeting, right? It's because these conversations, they carry a lot of emotion in them. We're talking about our kids. We're talking about our kids' future. So once you've had some time to regroup, try documenting the meeting while it's still fresh. Okay, it doesn't have to be formal, but it helps to write down what concerns were discussed, what the school agreed to, if there was anything that kind of felt unclear or up in the air, what questions maybe went unanswered, and what just didn't sit right with you. Because parents often will minimize their instincts after difficult meetings, especially if your district is really good at gaslighting, right? You can really, and if you've been in that district for a really long time, it can be really hard to trust that inner guide of yours because you've spent years in this district where they're just like, not a concern, not a problem. Oh, no, you think that's wrong, but it's actually fine. Um, so yeah, so that can be something that we tend to do, right? If people just keep gaslighting us. Because many times the things that continue bothering you afterward are actually important signals that are worth paying attention to. Now my dog is chewing on a squeaky toy. So get all kinds of fun sound effects. All right. So here are some examples. Maybe the data was discussed vaguely during the meeting. Maybe your concerns were repeatedly redirected. Maybe support needs were minimized when you brought them up. Maybe decisions seemed kind of rushed, like maybe they had made those decisions before the meeting. So writing things down can actually help you separate what really happened versus what emotions am I carrying from the meeting, especially if you don't have the best rapport with someone in that meeting. Um, it's good to just kind of take that space and write back, okay, like what are the real issues here? And what are maybe only issues because of the way that someone said this to me during the meeting? It's important. It's important to know this distinction between those two. Okay. So this is something about what you don't need to know to advocate effectively, okay? Another very important point. A lot of us think as parents, if I were better at advocacy, I would have known exactly what to say. But effective advocacy is not about having perfect wording or knowing every law off the top of your head. I always say to parents, I would rather you say it with a shaky voice than not say it at all. A lot of parents we work with are thoughtful, they're informed, they're deeply engaged parents, and they can still leave meetings feeling overwhelmed sometimes. I've had parents who are in high power positions outside of this meeting, right? Of the IEP meetings, they are high powered, well spoken people, and they clam up during that meeting still, or they just become overwhelmed with emotions. And they're very well spoken people outside of IEP meetings, but something about that pressure of getting it right for their kid just really like puts their nervous system into overdrive. And that's because these meetings often involve educational language, right? Outside of every normal day speaking, some weird power dynamics, the pressure of time. I knew a district that would always put the IEP meetings at the end of the day. So 1 hour. And once it was 1 hour, they're like, oh, sorry, our teachers are no longer under contract hours. So we have to cut it off. We have to wrap things up. And we would just say, okay, no problem. We're going to have to reschedule then and do a continuation because we didn't get to address all of our concerns. But they would do that as that time pressure to kind of get parents to just get everything in under an hour, and you don't really get your needs or concerns met when there are a lot of them in an hour's time, especially when all the people in the table are going around and reading their results. So sorry, excuse me. Okay. So the pressure of time is one, conflicting interpretations sometimes. The data saying this, but they're taking it as that, or vice versa. And there's just a huge amount of emotional weight. It's not about becoming the loudest person in the room. That's actually the opposite of what you want to do. It's about understanding your child's needs, asking thoughtful questions, noticing when something feels a little off or incomplete, and just trying your best to seek clarity. You're allowed to take time before you agree to something. You're allowed to ask for documentation. You're allowed to request follow-up conversations, and you're allowed to say, I'd like time to review this before moving forward. Oftentimes, the vibe will make it feel like you can't say that urgency, 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 but yeah, you can. So after difficult meetings, parents often start spiraling into, what if this never gets better? What if my child keeps struggling? What if I just miss my chance because I didn't say something? Try to bring yourself back to the next step instead of the entire future. And maybe for you, the next step is requesting copies of reports. Maybe it's reviewing accommodations again. Maybe it's just organizing communication or scheduling another conversation with them. It's not one perfect meeting that fixes everything. I've never seen one perfect meeting, still holding out. But it's a process. It's gathering information, it's building understanding, it's continuing to move forward just step by step. And you don't have to navigate that process perfectly to still advocate effectively for your child. If you've recently had an IEP meeting that left you feeling discouraged or emotionally drained, I want you to know this. Feeling overwhelmed does not mean you're doing a bad job. In many cases, it just means that you care deeply, you're caring a lot, and you're trying to navigate a system that feels incredibly complicated. You do not need to have every answer immediately. You don't need to become an expert overnight. And you do not need to ignore your concerns just because someone else at that table is seeing the situation differently. So sorry, getting over a cold. So sometimes the most important next step is just slowing down enough to regain clarity before deciding how to move forward. If this video was helpful, we'd love for you to subscribe or share it with another parent who might need it. And if you're looking for additional support navigating school concerns or advocacy decisions, we've included more information below. So thank you for being here. Before we end, I just want to say that we also have a free download that I'm going to put the link into in the descriptions as well about what to do when you disagree with your child's school. It kind of gives you more steps on the disagreement ladder from having conversations to something a little more formal like written complaints. All right. Thanks for watching and see you next time.